I royally screwed up with my 401k. I've literally lost thousands of dollars because no one told me certain things about investing. You'd think your employer or 401k servicing company would give you a little bit of education on what to do with your 401k instead of just saying, oh, here you go, good luck. But I guess as long as they stay out of the education business, the more videos that I can make. Look, I don't want to see you make the same boneheaded mistakes as me. So in this video, I'll go through some things that you should know and mistakes to avoid when investing in your 401k. Some of these might be obvious to you, but I guarantee there's at least a couple that you had no clue about. To be honest with you, I'm a little embarrassed to share some of these stories with you, but I'll do it anyways because I always have to remind myself that you don't know what you don't know, and I shouldn't beat myself up about it. Hey, I'm Jarrad with an A, and on this channel, we like to talk about all things personal finance and investing. Just a disclaimer, this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Nothing I say should be taken as financial advice. If you have a decent amount of your 401k invested in your employer stock, then you might want to rethink about your investing strategy. It's good that you're rooting for the company that you work for to do well, but this can turn really bad very quickly. When I think of investing for retirement, I like to be diversified. I don't want to have too many eggs in one basket because if something happens to that one basket, then you're in for a tough road going forward. Your main source of income already comes from the company that you work for, so your livelihood hinges on that company doing well. That's already enough risk right there. Don't mess it up by investing in their stock as well, because that's just too much money riding on that one company. This is one of the main reasons I prefer to invest in low-cost total stock market index funds. I read an article in the Wall Street Journal where a guy named Gary worked at GE for 40 years. He retired with a pension and company stock valued at $280,000. A couple of years later, the stock price tanked, and that $280,000 instantly became worth $110,000. Our buddy Gary is now forced to find work in retirement, and not by choice either. This is really scary to think about. Because of stories like this, I've never owned and never plan to own any shares in the company that I work for. It is just not smart. Next, you need to understand what it means to be vested if you have a 401k where your employer offers any sort of match. I learned this the hard way. Let's say your employer matches your 401k contributions up to 5%. All of that contribution money gets invested just like the rest of the money that you invest, but it's technically not yours until you're fully vested. To be vested means you have full rights to some sort of benefit. In this case, it's your 401k contribution money. If you leave the company before the predetermined time frame, then you lose the rights to that benefit. So if you have to be vested for 3 years to receive all of the employer contributions and you leave the company after, we'll say 2 years, 11 months, and 22 days, then they will take back all of the money that they've been contributing for you and the gains on that money as well. So you're essentially investing that money for the employer you just left. Yeah, you've still been investing, but that sucks that they're taking that money from you. Yeah, this basically happened to me years ago because I didn't realize that this was even a thing. I had to be invested for 3 years, and I left the company after about 2 years and 9 months. When I went to my new job, I started to transfer my 401k money from the old job, and the numbers did not add up. I had thousands of dollars missing. I was like, what the heck's going on? That's when I found out what it meant to be vested. If I knew about this, then I probably would have found a way to stick it out for another couple of months to get the fully vested amount. I felt like such an idiot after learning about this. I greatly appreciate it if you Hulk smashed that thumbs up button to help support myself, this channel, and my dog Molly. Would love you long time for it. If you know someone who could benefit from seeing this video, then do us both a favor and share it with them. Is that a 401k and IRA are different, but kind of the same. In the past, my thought process was if I have a 401k, then there's no reason to invest in an IRA as well. They're both retirement accounts, but a 401k is offered through your employer and an IRA is self-directed. So you basically have to go invest in your IRA on your own. As of right now, the maximum amount that you can contribute to your 401k starting in 2020 is $19,500 and an IRA is $6,000. If you're curious about investing in a Roth IRA, then I'll link up my playlist to all of my Roth IRA videos in the description. You can also have a 401k and an IRA at the same time, and in my opinion, you should be taking advantage of both. This is one that won't make or break you, but you're still gonna want to know about it so you're not surprised when it comes time for you you to retire and you're wondering why some of your money is in this bucket. The money that you receive from your employer match is always invested in a traditional 401k, which means that this is pre-tax money, which also means that when you go to withdraw any of your employer's contributions when you retire, then that money will be taxed. For example, if you invest $1,800 per year into your Roth 401k and your employer matches $1,800, then that $1,800 that you invested will grow tax-free, while the $1,800 that they match and the investment gains on that money will be taxed once it's grown and you retire and you start pulling that money out of your 401k. If you leave this job and roll it over into an IRA, then you'll have to roll it into a traditional IRA, not a Roth IRA. So if someone invests in their Roth 401k forever and they expect not to be taxed on any of their retirement money, then they're wrong. Don't feel like you're getting screwed over here though, because this is the case for everyone who works for a company that matches their contributions. You are not going to be able to change it. If you're not investing up to your employer's match, then you're either an idiot or you're just not aware of how important it is to do so. I'm guessing you're probably the latter though, because I don't think you're an idiot. The simple explanation is because it's literally free money. Think of a company match like giving you free shares of an index fund out of every single paycheck. Even if the shares of that index fund go down, you still have those shares that'll have the potential to grow and pay you dividends every single quarter. You also have to look at an employer match like a part of your compensation for working there, because it is, just like your health benefits and vacation days as well. Let's go through a quick example. Say your employer matches 50% of your contributions up to 6% of your annual salary. If you make $60,000 per year, then you are eligible for them to match up to $1,800 for the year, because 6% of $60,000 is $3,600, and they're going to match 50% of that, which is $1,800. This means that you invest $1,800 and they'll match you with $1,800. You can consider this an instant return because you're guaranteed to double your money as long as you invest up to that amount. I'm a dummy and didn't realize this when I started my first job, so I didn't bother investing because Dave Ramsey told me to put all of my money towards debt. Then of course I did my own research and realized he wasn't giving the best advice here, so I started contributing up to at least the match, even though I was still focusing on paying off my bad debt. Was this a boneheaded move on my part? Did I learn to not take Dave's advice at face value anymore? I sure did, but you don't know what you don't know. Don't make the same mistake as me, and please, please, please invest at least up to your employer match and make sure you're fully vested before leaving the company. Don't listen to Dave Ramsey because he's an idiot about certain things. Sorry, not sorry. You need to be aware of the fees involved with investing in your 401k. Now there's two types of fees that you need to look for. The first is the expense ratio of the investment offered within your 401k. This is going to be different for each investment option that you have. One thing to note, don't just base your investment decisions on the one with the highest return over the past 10 years. You need to understand what the holdings are within that particular investment, what the goal is of that fund, and how it aligns with your goals. And you need to pay attention to the cost to own that fund. I made the mistake early on in my investing career where I would just pick the one with the highest return and I didn't even bother looking at the expense ratio or what was even in that fund. If you've got one fund that has a 10-year return of 16.5% and an expense ratio of 0.80% and a low-cost index fund that has a 10-year return of 16% but an expense ratio of 0.03%, then you may want to stop to think before you automatically choose the one with the highest return. A, because you don't actually know the goal of that fund with the 16.5% return. And B, you should be trying to limit your fees as much as possible. Just to be clear, you shouldn't only choose investment options because it has a low expense ratio. You need to understand what the goal of that fund actually is. I touch a little bit on understanding investment options in one of the Roth IRA videos that I made. I'll link it up in the description for you to check out after this video. If you need some help making sure you're not paying too much in fees, then check out Bloom. It's a free 401k analyzer tool that'll look through your portfolio to make sure that you're not overpaying in fees, and will check to see if there's any hidden fees you're being charged. I tried them out and was extremely genuinely impressed with the results. It felt good letting someone else take a quick look at my 401k portfolio. Link to run the free analyzer on your 401k is in the description. The next expense that you need to be aware of within your 401k is how much they're charging you to manage your 401k. Now, I'm fortunate enough to where I get charged a flat $5 fee every single quarter, no matter how large my 401k balance is. But I've heard about some people's 401ks who are getting charged a lot more than that, or even an ongoing percentage of their 401k portfolio. These expenses are the same for everyone across the company. Now, you may not think that you have the power to get your company to do something about it, but you probably do. If you notice that the management fees of your 401k are really high, then reach out to your HR department and make them aware of what you're actually seeing. A lot of the times the higher ups within your company are clueless. They were probably just pitched by a sales rep from one of these investment management companies and didn't pay attention to how much their employees would actually be paying. If you are able to articulate how much these fees are costing all of their employees, then you may be surprised at how willing they are to change companies or try to get the fees lowered for you all. This mistake is easy to forget about. If you're not increasing your contributions on a regular basis, then the future you is going to want to punch the you of today directly in the throat. You've done your research, you've educated yourself, you know what to invest in. So you adjust the settings in your 401k to invest 20% of your income and forget about it. I found a nice little picture from Fidelity that shows you how much you are leaving on the table if you don't increase your contributions on a regular basis. The difference between increasing it by 1% every year versus only increasing it by 1% is an extra $1,700 per month you're screwing your future self out of. Yes, we're talking about a measly 1%. This is something that I do every single year, no matter what. Whenever my income increases, I automatically increase my contributions by the exact same amount. I don't ever see that raise on a day-to-day basis. My overall wealth gets that raise. We should all be very aware of what our actions today are going to do for the us in 20 or 30 years. That future person is just as, if not more important than we are right now. It is our obligation to set him or her up for the future so they don't have to work until the day that they die. Don't forget to Hulk smash that thumbs up button. Check out these videos to my left. The top one, I'll show you exactly how I invest in my Roth IRA, or you can watch the one below it where I show you exactly how I save and invest 70% of my income. Check out the description for different playlists and resources to help you out with all of your personal finance and investing needs. I'll see you in the next one, friends. Adios.